Gus, we're back at it again, man. How are you?
Back at it again.
I feel like we just did one of these.
We sure did.
I'm glad to do another one, man. And this time I'm excited to talk about something that really is more, I think, like your wheelhouse, right? I think that we talk a fair amount about real estate and resale value and things like that. So I'm actually really excited to talk about this because I think that this will give people some more insight into something that I know you're really passionate about, which is kitchen remodeling, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious what you're seeing, right? What is the industry doing? I'm curious what the average consumer is doing. So I'm gonna let you go, man. Just jump right into it. Tell us about kitchens.
Absolutely. So, Dave, it excites me so much to do these, right? Because, it provides people so much value, so much information that's not out there necessarily from our perspective, right? The industry and the way it works is the average homeowner will have to reach out to a company and have, invite them over to their home. In most cases, actually 3 companies. To give them an estimate on whatever the project may be. And so the fact that, we're doing this, it brings so much excitement to me because, we're providing homeowners with essentially, free information to hopefully use when they make an educated decision when it comes to home remodeling and real estate.
Yeah.
And so, but back to the topic, yes, it does excite me quite a bit. I love doing kitchen remodels. But honestly, one of the reasons why I was so looking forward to this is because I want to get your take, especially on this.
How it pivots.
On how you see things. No, on all seriousness, from your perspective, because, like for me, I know what I go through on a daily basis and, but I want to know, not from a real estate point of view, but also as a homeowner, what are the things that, that you look for? What are you seeing on the market? For me, what I've noticed before we, I give you the floor.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is a lot of people, because of, the pandemic and because they're now spending so much time in their homes, they're expanding their kitchens. They're essentially eliminating their dining rooms. They almost don't exist anymore, and people don't care for them. So they would much rather knock down that wall, open up the kitchen into the dining room, and make it one big area, put a big, nice island in there that seats at least 5 people. And, because realistically, that's where most people spend their time. Most families spend their time, whether they're entertained or they're just, their own circle or whatever the case may be. The kitchen is where it's at.
I think that, one, you're right. I don't know that it's necessarily about eliminating the dining room. I think that for the most part, they're just going unused, right? I think to your point, we are seeing a lot of these open concepts, right? People are knocking down walls. They want those main areas to be as open as possible because, again, to your point, where do people congregate? They congregate where the food's going to be, where the food's being prepared. And then, typically what winds up happening, especially, depending on the layout of the home, there's a family room right off of that. Maybe there's a wall or some kind of a barrier. So they want to knock those down and create this big open space so that this way, whether they're having family or friends or a gathering, which I know a lot of people did not do for a long time because of the pandemic, now getting back into a quote unquote normal way of living for a lot of people anyway. I think that space in general is more important. And I think to your point, people are utilizing their kitchens differently. I don't think that's a direct result of the pandemic. I think that started
I don't think so either.
Well before then.
Yeah.
But I do think that the pandemic has helped people to realize, what that space should look like for them and how they may want to make those improvements to make that happen.
Absolutely. Some from a resale value. What are your thoughts on those open concepts and taking up so much real estate into the dining room? So obviously when those things happen, it's because the family decided to make their own space more comfortable, more enjoyable for themselves and their families, right?
Yeah.
But, as for a new buyer, what does that mean for a new buyer?
Well, I think it depends, right? I think that it depends on what they actually did with that space. If they opened it up but kind of kept it fairly generic, then I think it appeals to more people. Sometimes people are installing things or making improvements that are so specific to the way that they live their life that may be something that needs to be considered either in the sales price, or it may need to be adjusted to make it more general, right? I think, if you're looking to sell your property, the open concept is definitely what a lot of people are looking for. Just be careful with some of the unique finishes, right? The more neutrals are better, right? We're seeing a lot more grays and things like that. Obviously in terms of appliances, stainless steel seems to still be going strong, right?
Yep.
People are, really big into granite and now quartz and marble as far as their countertops are
Absolutely.
concerned. I think that the overall consumer, and look, I could put my foot in my mouth here, right? Who knows? But I think the overall consumer is looking for more streamlined, that they want it to look nice without it being overbearing, right? And even what I mean by that is some of the hardware, right? Where I think there are people who may be like gold hardware, cabinet pulls and things like that.
Sure.
But overall, I think we're seeing a lot of like a brushed nickel, for example, because
Sure.
it's more generic, but it still looks really, really sharp when you have it with like a white shaker cabinet, for example. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a new trend now. It's actually right behind you. We have this brushed gold hardware.
Right.
It's been very trendy recently. A lot
Yeah.
of people love it, and I do too. Especially on white shaker cabinets,
Sure.
which is our best seller.
Go figure, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
To your point, most people like to stay neutral when it comes to the colors. But so what? I mean, are you seeing any pushback on not having a formal dining room?
I mean, from my experience, I have not really encountered that. I think that, again, for a lot of people, it's become it's space that they're not using as a dining room, right?
Yeah.
I think that as we go forward, the biggest population of home buyers now is millennials, right? And when you look at the older generations, the baby boomers and people like that, they grew up in these more traditional home environments where a space like a dining room, I mean, you get together, you sit at the table and you have dinner as a family every single night. And I think a lot of people maybe are still doing that, but they do that in like the breakfast area of the kitchen versus the formal dining room. So I think that, I don't know that the formal dining room is ever going to just go away, but
Sure.
I think that there's much less stress on the desire to have one. If it's there, people are like, okay. And if there's not a big space for it or a clearly defined space for it, it's not necessarily, I mean, it will in some cases, but overall, I don't think it's impacting people's desire to buy or not buy. They're looking for that open concept kitchen into family room, and they're looking for those streamlined kind of upgrades.
Absolutely. And so the way I look at it is, with millennials and stuff like that, and, all the technologies we have at our fingertips nowadays, people are more connected, I feel like, even though with the pandemic and everything else. But I mean, you can FaceTime, or kids can FaceTime their grandparents at any given time, right? So I feel like there isn't the same need for in-person meeting necessarily, because of all those things that have facilitated the meetings. We didn't even mention Zoom and things like that.
Sure.
Right? And so I think because of that, we don't see big gatherings like we used to, which is what the dining room was intended for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most people or most families are okay meeting around the kitchen table or the kitchen island, and that's good. And that's really, that's what they want. That's what they need on daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And, as we approach the holidays, I can't help but to think that, aside from really Thanksgiving and, the holiday season, I mean, when else do you use your formal dining room? You know what I mean?
Well, so that's interesting, right? Because every family is so different. I think as a general rule, you're right. But I look at like my own situation, for example. We have a formal dining room. We use it when we're having a large gathering. It's kind of like overflow seating, if you will, right? The kids will go in there and eat their, hamburgers or whatever it is, while the adults are kind of spread out.
Sure.
That said, we actually use our dining room every single Friday night.
Okay.
So for us, we celebrate Shabbat and we light the candles in the kitchen and we go through the routine of bringing in the Shabbat holiday. And then every Friday we sit down, the four of us, at the formal dining room and we have dinner.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that. And I think that for us, we do that because that's more of a, it's not an everyday setting. It's like a special type of setting to have the Shabbat holiday. But to that end, there would also be no reason why we couldn't have that environment at the kitchen table and not have the dining room. So each family is going to be very different. It's just a matter of what's going to be appealing.
But I mean, is it fair to assume that now you guys do it in the dining room because it's available?
Yeah. And I think
but you wouldn't miss it otherwise, right?
No, I think that we do it in the dining room because it creates a change of environment, right? So Friday is Shabbat. Shabbat's supposed to be special. We don't eat in the dining room every day. It's a different environment. So I think that there's something to be said for that. That said, if it wasn't there, we would just do it in the kitchen where the other table is, right? Absolutely. So no, I don't. I think that the formal dining room still has a purpose. I just think that the frequency with which we use it for that purpose is going down because as a society we're changing the way we live our lives.
Sure.
Whether it be because of the pandemic and doing things virtually or any other various reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts on crazy colors in the kitchen? Not crazy, different. So what I mean by that is a lot of people now are into not just the neutral. Most people are still into the neutral colors, but we also have a lot of customers that want to do like a different color island, for example. Sure. They want to go with the navy blue, or they want to do the olive green tone, or they want to do different color lowers than the uppers.
Sure.
What are your thoughts? What are you seeing?
I mean, I don't know that we're necessarily seeing a whole lot of that as far as real estate is concerned. Not specifically, but my thoughts on that are if that's what you want to do it. But make sure you're doing it because you're going to be able to enjoy it. I would caution anybody who's thinking about selling their property to do that because you're going to potentially limit your buyer pool.
Sure.
If you're doing it because that's what you like and you're going to get enjoyment out of your space doing that, by all means, do it. Absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've seen all kinds of interesting colors when it comes to countertops or cabinets or, paint color is easy to change, obviously.
Sure.
I think that this is where it becomes one of those things where you can do, we've talked about when should people do improvements, right? This is one of those things where if you're going to be able to enjoy it, get the green countertop and the purple cabinets, right? If that's what you like, right?
Please don't do that.
but if that's what you like and that's how you're going to enjoy your home, fantastic. Just know that one of two things is going to happen when you go to sell your property, whether that's next week or in 20 years. You're either going to need to redo it, or if your green countertops and purple cabinets are not in trend at that time, you're going to take a hit on the price.
Let's put some gold hardware on that.
I like it. Yeah, why not, right?
Let's hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on this? What have you seen? If you're a homeowner and if you recently sold your house or if you're on the market to sell, what have you seen? What kind of feedback do you have on this topic? I'm very curious to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
All right. And then as far as, I want to switch it back to you for a half a minute here. I have to imagine that you're seeing when people are doing kitchen remodels, these are people that are planning on being there and enjoying their homes. I mean, are you seeing people doing kind of off the wall stuff, or are you seeing more streamlined type stuff? I mean, what are you seeing when you're having these consultations with people?
I mean, we're seeing, again, the two different types of customers, right?
Yeah,
You see the people that want to do the improvement because they want to, greater resale value. And they want it to show better so it sells quicker and they get top dollars for it, which makes total sense. Mm-hmm. We also have, it's really 50-50 in the industry, believe it or not.
Interesting.
And we have, the people that want to just improve it because they're sick and tired of it and they want something that's nicer, that's, more efficient, that's, better for their life, their lifestyle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's really, I think it's a 50-50 split on this.
Huh. And you know, and I guess to that end, there's no wrong answer, right? I mean, everybody's scenario is different. Everybody's wants and needs are different.
Yeah.
One thing I will say that I don't see changing it. I mean, you know, I've been helping people buy and sell homes for over a decade now. And the one thing that I have not ever seen change, no matter what else has changed, is people's, you know, wants and needs as it pertains to that kitchen space, you know? So fortunately for you, I don't think you're going out of business anytime soon.
No, I sure hope not. No, not at all. The other thing that I want to mention on the kitchen topic is, you know, a lot of times, especially if you're in the market or you're getting ready to get on the market soon, there are things that people can do to improve the look and the aesthetics of the kitchens without spending a whole lot. What I mean by that is, you know, you can consider painting the cabinets, upgrading the hardware or install hardware. A lot of kitchens don't even have hardware on the cabinets. Yeah. So just a matter of painting cabinets, going from like a stained brown to a painted white with some nice hardware on them, and freshen up the countertop, get rid of that old Formica countertop. Put an affordable granite on even will be a huge improvement. Yeah. So you can do something like this and still keep it within an affordable number, and then it will change the entire aesthetics of the kitchen.
Yeah, look, again, it depends on what you're looking to do. If your goal is to get the house ready to you know, have a tenant or a new owner come into it, it's probably going to be a different expense than if you're going to do it for yourself and hopefully enjoy it for many years to come.
Absolutely.
Totally different scenarios. And both of them have merit. Both of them have a place in the market.
For sure.
You know? Yeah.
For sure. Dave, thank you so much, man.
Always a pleasure, man.
I really appreciate you taking your time and you know, doing this. All right. And again, if you guys have any questions on this topic, as always, please leave them in the comments below. Anything that you want to ask, and you know, in terms of this topic or future topics, any recommendations you have, don't hesitate to reach out to Dave or myself, and we'll be happy to help.
Absolutely.
All right. Until the next one.
Until the next one.
See you guys.
See you guys.